All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Welcome to the Bucs Report Show. Post-draft. Let the chaos begin. Let the pandemonium begin. I want you guys to start your conversation. I do follow the comments and everything there. I do want to hear from you. I will be watching those comments. We have all kinds of goodies going on tonight. Lots of news, obviously, because the Bucs, well, they just had a draft. In case you hadn't heard, and if you're here, you've probably heard quite a bit. We've had a lot going on. There's been so much that's happened. It's pretty exciting. Hey, Jeremiah Hafner, how you doing, buddy? We've got a ton to talk about. So I want the pandemonium to begin. I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. I'm going to just say it wrong. Renare Frederick Narcisse. I don't know if I said that even close to right. I apologize if I said your name wrong. William, everybody, welcome. Let's talk Bucs football because there's a lot to talk about. We're finally not trying to fill the extra space. We're finally not trying to find the things to talk about. We got a bunch to talk about. We got a lot to talk about. We got some special guests to talk with tonight. We have Dennis Phillips from ABC Action News in Tampa. I'm excited to talk to him about all the goings on. We've got Andrew Faubert, the host of Live from the Cheap Seats. That's right. Andrew is now the full-time host of Live from the Cheap Seats on Sunday night, right here on Bucs Report, and I'll talk about that briefly. But we've got Matt Coulson, we've got Dre Long, we've got Kula, we've got Ben Parrish, Tom is, I think it's Dial. I may have said it wrong, maybe Deal. Jeremiah, we got all of you in here, and I will be keeping an eye. Absolutely, I will be keeping an eye on this on the chat. So I'm excited about all of that. First thing I want to talk about, guys, I want to talk about something that to me is hilarious as a Buccaneers fan. It's something that is just so hard for me to process, hard for me to believe, hard for me to actually wrap my mind around. The Buccaneers have been ignored for how many years? The Buccaneers have been sort of, I'm going to say, a laughingstock. We've been an afterthought at best, barely getting any coverage, players barely getting any love, nothing really going on. Well, I don't know if you heard about this, guys, but the Buccaneers are the franchise that sold the most merchandise, the most jerseys last year. The Buccaneers were the most popular in jersey sales in 2020. The absolute most popular. And the funny thing is, in 2019, they were one of the least popular. They went from being one of the least popular to one of the most popular. Sales were up. Not 100%, not 200%, not 50%, not 500%, not 1,000%. They were up 1,200%. 1,200%. They were up. Guys, that's huge. Okay. They sold a lot of merchandise last year. And what that says to me is they're going to be getting guys in the Pro Bowl. They're going to be getting recognition. Welcome to the new world, Bucs fans. This is a whole new deal. We all better get used to it because this is a whole new deal. I also want to talk about the fact that, and let me say this. The biggest one-year increase in jersey sales in history, according to Fanatics and the Players Association. The biggest one-year leap in NFL history when it comes to jersey sales and merchandise sales. Tom Brady, when the Bucs won the Super Bowl, Tom Brady jersey sales made up 19% of all of the merchandise, of all Bucs championship merchandise sales. The Tom Brady jersey outsold every other bit of championship merchandise. That's phenomenal to me. That's an amazing. You talk about the Brady effect. You talk about unbelievable numbers that are hard to process. If you wrap your mind around 1,200%, it's staggering how much more they sold and the money that's coming in to this franchise. And we're going to talk to Dennis Phillips a little bit about that, and Andrew Faubert. We're going to talk to him a little bit about that. And we've got some other folks coming on here that I'm looking forward to talking to, part of the Parrot Army. You guys out there bringing the pandemonium, which I want to see. I do want to see the pandemonium. Hopefully we will have Johnny Dean the Professor coming on here as well. And right now, what I want to do is open up the phone lines and open up all of this. All right, let's bring Matt Colson in here. Let's bring in Matt. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, Rick.
Matt from Oklahoma City. So tell me, what did you hear the statistics about the jersey sales and everything?
I read that earlier this afternoon, and I thought I had a misprint. I had to go back and look at it twice.
That's what I did. 1,200. I saw 1,200. I was like, not 1,200%. 1,200. What do they mean? Do they mean 120%? Do they mean,
yeah,
you know, what? Yeah, because 120% is a lot, right? But 1,200%?
That means if they sold one the year before, they sold 12 of that same thing this year.
Yeah, it's insane.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And you can thank Biden for that. Because he gave us money.
The stimulus. We got the stimulus right at that time. So
everything just merged right together. The stars came aligned and the comets came to space. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's pretty phenomenal, and I think you're going to see a lot more recognition for your Bucs players now after all of this, because everybody knows who they are now.
On this team that deserve it, they really have had some stick-to-itiveness. With Levante David,
one of my favorite sayings, stick-to-itiveness.
Just doesn't make it on the All-Star games and that kind of thing, and it irritates me that that's the way it is.
And this is the thing. It doesn't irritate me because now you see what the whole point is. You see the fact that respect is earned. That's not just a saying.
Well, that's
if
true.
You're the only guy that's doing that is doing good, and you're not raising the level of the people around you, you're not making that big of a difference. Okay, there's less of an effect.
Yeah,
but
you got the Jerome McCoy thing going there.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. For those of you who didn't get a chance to see what it was like out at the draft party, because we had a crazy draft party. Let me show you real quick.
Recruited by many Power 5 schools as a quarterback, and he decided to bet on himself and believe in himself. He is a quarterback, he thought. North Dakota State agreed. He had 17 stellar starts for them, and now he strolls to an NFL draft floor, tears in his eyes.
It was a lot of fun. The place was very, very busy, and along came the first pick of the draft. Finally, we waited 5 hours. Right, it'd been a long night. We were tired. We couldn't hear a thing. Keep in mind when you hear this next clip, we literally could not hear Joshua. We were reading lips, which is a challenge. But it was so loud where we were, and about 90 seconds prior to the NFL Network announcing who the Buccaneers had picked. So everybody watching on TV had no idea who the Bucs had picked. 90 seconds prior to that, this happened with Joshua Cole Allen.
Guys, you guys ready for the pick? Here it is. Bring it, Joshua.
The Bucs are keeping the pick. They're not trading out of it.
The Bucs are keeping their pick?
Look at the lights going off in there.
The lights
Who is
are
it?
going off. We're on the clock. The pick is in. It is an edge rusher.
Edge rusher.
Tryon. Washington.
Joe Tryon.
Wait, he already went.
No, he didn't.
Didn't Joe Tryon just go?
He was predicting him to go.
Nice.
He just
The Bucs
went
got
to
Joe
the Buccaneers.
Tryon.
Edge rusher out of Washington.
Yeah, the edge
Husky.
rusher out of
Edge rusher out
Washington
of
is now a Buccaneer, folks.
There you go. You get it
He's now
before
a
the NFL
Buccaneer.
Network.
Yeah, we got it
Right there
before
at
the
that
NFL
spot.
Network, thanks to Joshua.
Joshua Cole Allen. That right there
That is beautiful,
That
Joshua.
was
They got
nice.
they got the lights all dimmed red here.
Yeah, your shot looks awesome. Your shot looks awesome, brother.
Look at the cans
There you
flying.
go. Right in his ear.
Joe Tryon, linebacker.
They didn't warn me about that. They didn't warn me about that. That scared the heck out of me. Joe Tryon to the Bucs. Great pick. I had him in my last mock of the season. He was in a lot of mocks around the league. Joe Tryon is a great player. He's got an athletic motor. He can really get after the quarterback. He's still raw, only 1 year production as a 1-year starter with the Washington Huskies. But this is a guy with some good coaching, can come in right away. He's a developmental guy, right behind JPP Jack, and still can contribute into the rotation as well. He opted out last year, so they didn't have tape on him. One of the things that
Well, anyway, guys, that's how you break a pick. Let me tell you something.
That was kinda
90
cool.
seconds prior to the NFL Network. So it was awesome because we're sitting there in the bar. We're talking about Joe Tryon is the pick. We're all excited, and people are looking at us and going, "Who's what? Who are they? Who do you think they're going to pick?" And we're like, "No, they picked Joe Tryon," and they're like, "What?" We're like, "Yeah, they picked Joe Tryon." They're like, "How do you know that?" And we're like, "Just watch." So they got to turn around and watch on TV. Then they announced Joe Tryon, and everybody's turning around looking at us like, "Who are you people?" It was a lot of fun. I had a great night. I had a great weekend in Tampa. Great food. Props to Pierogi Grill on Gulf to Bay. I got to give them props yet again. You have no idea how much I love that food there. Yeah, we just had a great time. But okay, so Matt,
Yes.
let me ask you this: the Bucs have done what they've done jersey wise. That's all gone well. Okay, we're all happy. Hooray! The Bucs are selling jerseys, but this draft. Let me get your gut feeling right now on the draft.
Well, I gave it a B plus,
Okay.
basically because, well, where we were picking it. You're getting the bottom of the first round, which you don't really put a whole lot of credence into usually. But we got a good pick. And in the second round, I'm not too much of a Gator fan, but Kyle Trask seems like he's in a perfect place at the perfect time. So that looks like it's promising if they don't re-sign Gabbert and they keep him on the team. So those two highlight. And you and I had a little back and forth about the fourth round when they moved up to get a special teams player.
Right.
I'm still shaking my head about that, but they did it. And
Which player are you talking about?
The guy we got in the fourth round, I don't remember what his
Is it
name was.
Jalen Darden?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, here's the deal. Jalen Darden.
Special teams monster.
Let me say this while we're talking about Jalen Darden. Let me talk to you about him. This is a guy Tom Brady has specifically named on his Twitter that he's pumped to work with, that he's excited about working with. The guy's going to see the field. Okay, this guy he's a something. All right, he's a great route runner. He's quick. He does a lot of very, very great with yards after catch. He does a lot of amazing things. This guy I think is going to get some playing time. All right. And let me tell you something. Remember how you felt every time last year when you saw Mickens returning a kick?
Yeah.
Well,
5 yards.
Now imagine replacing that with a guy that's got talent and ability. So, listen, this team, how much better do you think you're going to get picking number 32 when you're this good?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you're to me, the whole draft was picking up reserves, and some of these guys may make it part-time on the squad, which is what I expect. I mean, it's a lot better sitting here for 3 hours watching everybody else pick than it is to be here having to be in the first for 15 minutes to see if they get the first or second pick done.
Yeah.
That's a new thing. But I believe over the last 3 years, I was looking back at it, and the only bad name that I remember them pulling out was Hargraves. That's the only one that didn't work. Everybody else has stayed.
Speaking of Florida.
Yeah. And the other thing I brought up last night with Anthony, Florida, if you look up their quarterbacks drafted in the NFL, since 77 when Spurrier came in, whenever it was. There's really nobody on that list that turned out much. Danny Warfel, I guess, maybe one of them. But most of the Florida Gators quarterbacks don't transfer to the NFL.
Well, it's different when you're talking about Alabama because you're talking the current system. If you're going back to the 80s with the Gators, you're not talking about under one system. When you're looking at Alabama, we're primarily talking about under the current system. And that's why I think people say Alabama quarterbacks don't necessarily translate well. They're saying Saban quarterbacks don't translate well.
Right.
But you're going back Gators listen, man, the 1980s Gators
was running everything.
Why? But the 1980s Gators have nothing to do with now. The 90s Gators have nothing to do with now. I don't remember when Saban took over in Alabama, but the Gators now, from that point, have nothing to do with now. So, yeah, I mean, it's you can't draw that comparison.
Well, I can. It's relevant.
Yes, you have the right to.
But that's the one thing that bugs me about it. I just, my mom was Florida State alum. My dad was a Florida State alum. I should have been. And that's where our loyalties lay.
Yeah. Well, don't listen. I am a Gator fan. And even as a Gator fan, I can tell you when Jameis came, I was perfectly happy. So he's no longer a Gator. He's a Buccaneer.
Right. And if anybody on the quarterback list that they got drafted in the first and second round, I think he's in the best place. I think the guys that got the first, second, and third picks they're destined to go to a team that doesn't have an offensive line or doesn't have a wide receiver, doesn't have a running back, or doesn't have something, and they have to take their lumps and wait for the team to catch up to them. Whereas Trask has got a team around him, he's just got to wait for one guy to retire.
Agreed. And I'm going to get into him in a little bit, so I want you to hang around, and I'll come back to you later because I'm going to get into Trask. All right?
All right.
All right. I'm going to bring Dennis Phillips in now. Dennis Phillips from ABC Action News. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, Rick. How are you?
Good. I am doing good. Great to have you back on the show. I love having you here.
My pleasure. I was you're talking about Gainesville. My daughter graduated UF on Thursday, so I was actually in the stadium. I was in Ben Hill Griffith Stadium while the draft was going on, and watching the pick by pick as it went through. And we had talked in the last couple of weeks. Tryon was a name that was actually being floated around with the Bucs. I mean, I think, like you guys just said, at that point, you take best available. And I mean, the bottom line is, we're going to talk and discuss about the draft, but when you have a team that's returning every single player on offense and defense, I mean, you're talking about depth. And I think it's what you do. We talk about the draft, talk about what we think it's going to materialize out of it. But at the end of the day, when there's not a lot of a need for that year, it's kind of a crapshoot, right? And Trask is probably the perfect example of that, I guess.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to ask you about. I've got two different, I guess, ways of thinking. Is everybody saying, is Trask what the Bucs need? Is Trask what the Bucs need? The bottom line is, I think the Bucs are exactly what Trask needs. I think he's the perfect situation. This is the perfect situation for a guy like this. He needs development. I'm not saying he's going to be great, but what I'm saying is, man, if you're Kyle Trask, the stars aligned and put you in the best possible position to succeed.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Bucs' history, for heaven's sakes. I mean, I don't want to say a lot of mediocre quarterbacks, but there have been a lot of mediocre quarterbacks, including one that won a Super Bowl, by the way, with Brad Johnson. Right. So, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, Trask is a big guy. I mean, he's 6'4", 6'5", 240, something around there. So, but I mean, folks are already questioning his arm strength. He has no mobility. Now, you can argue, certainly you're right. Everything's a perfect situation for him because Brady's not a particularly mobile quarterback ever. And I mean, I think you probably could go back out of the University of Michigan and say, when the Patriots drafted Tom Brady, why do they want this guy? He's probably a bum. So you never know. And the situation for Brady worked out perfectly in New England and eventually here. Maybe Trask will be the same way. But I will tell you, and I know you and most everybody here has heard the same thing, the grades on Trask have been really mediocre at best.
Right.
I mean, some of the people who I know, who I really respect in terms of scouting players, have just been really down on him from the beginning. Maybe he's been a backup for so many times, and it took injuries to Felipe for him to actually get to the field in this last year and a half. But he's done what he's had to bring the team to some solid work. But him individually, man, I don't know. But again, who else do they draft? I mean, you can argue.
Right.
I mean, do they wait till next year to look for a replacement for Brady? Maybe they won't be in any better position then than they am now. But why not take a flyer? Because that's what they're doing right now. They're drafting for depth.
I think that's exactly what I think. It's sort of a, hey, let's see what happens with this guy kind of a thing. Because if he doesn't, pan out, if a year or two down the road he doesn't pan out, okay. I mean, it's really not a major loss. I know Arians was talking about the fact that he's a big, strong pocket passer. He processes information. Apparently, this is all according to Arians, processes information really well. He's very, very accurate. And what I thought was interesting that Arians brought up is that every situation he's in, when he starts in that environment, he's doubted, but he always blossoms. And that's interesting. I want to see if that can happen in the NFL. It's a whole different animal when you're blossoming in high school or blossoming in even college. This to me, I don't know. This is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, he's a 64th pick in the draft, so It isn't like they're wasting a top 10 or a top 20 pick on this guy. I mean, they took a flyer, and of course, the management is going to say great things about him. They don't want to draft a young kid and already be bashing him before he steps onto the field. But I think you temper the expectations to see how it plays out, and if it doesn't work out, there's other drafts, there's free agency, there's other things that can happen. So, why not is just the way I looked at it.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, and I'm about to get into the merchandising aspect of things with jersey sales and everything. And Tom Brady apparently will talk about leading a franchise, or the Brady effect. Sales of Buccaneers jerseys and merchandise are up 1,200%, 1,200% in 1 year. The biggest leap in history for any team ever.
Yeah, but I mean, think about that. It makes sense, because when do you ever have a player of Brady's caliber still when he can really play? When you have the Brett Favres and you have the Joe Montanas, the guys that have every bit as much of name recognition as Tom Brady did, but they were pretty much on the way down on their career. I don't know if they were necessarily looking for a new environment or they're looking to cash in a little bit, but Brady was obviously still at the top of his game. So, of course, you're going to have that factor. And I just think it makes perfect sense. So, I mean, you see it everywhere, right? I mean, and he has his own brand, his own company, for heaven's sake. So, I mean, why not? It's a win-win for him. And and I think anybody who's watching this show is probably a real Bucs fan. But let's be honest, there are a lot of bandwagoners in this area, regardless of whether it's the Rays or the Bucs or the Bolts.
Well, is that? And let me ask you this: is that? Like, I don't have a problem with the bandwagoners. I'm like, yeah, come on, hop on board. I mean, I get the window seat, but because I've been here all along. But yeah, hop on board. It's all good. More jersey sales, more everything. That's good for the team, isn't it? Is that not the case? I mean,
I think you're right. I mean, why not? Especially when you're a team like the Rays that are looking for any kind of fans as a new team anyway. I'm kind of the same way. I mean, I know there are some purists out there that get frustrated because they have been following the team from the beginning, and they get a little frustrated, not necessarily when they jump on, but when they jump off.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that kind of irritates a sports purist and one who really has a love and a passion for a team. And, everybody, I think, come on board. Now, granted, there's going to be a lot of people that jump on when the team's winning, but are they going to stick around when they're losing?
And some will. Some. And you got to figure, you're going to pick up some fans. And yeah, you're going to lose a lot when they start losing. I can tell you, I'll give you a great example. I grew up in Orlando. Do I follow the Orlando Magic? I don't follow really the NBA. If they're in the playoffs at some point, yeah, I'm going to turn on the TV and root for them. Sure. If they were to ever make it far, deep into the playoffs, I'm going to pay more attention. Okay, fine. I'm sort of a peripheral fan. Now, I laugh at the people who act like they've been there all along, and you can tell in the first 30 seconds of a conversation with them, they have no idea what they're talking about, or no, and that's fine. I'm still like, yeah, whatever. Come on, but why is it? I mean, this statistic just blew my mind. When the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl, when it came to championship merchandise during that week after the Super Bowl, 19% of what the Buccaneers sold of the Buccaneer merchandise was Tom Brady jerseys. At that point, that's not earlier in the year. That's everybody waited when he won the Super Bowl. Oh, I got to get a Brady jersey.
Well, and because anybody who follows the team and maybe not a big football player or football fan, that might be the only name they know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been a fan of the Bucs for a while. If you might know Mike Evans, AB's obviously new, Chris Godwin, Penn Stater, only been there for a couple of years. So Brady, everybody knows Tom Brady, whether you are a football fan or not.
Right.
Whether you're a fan of Brady or Giselle or whatever or you're from New England and you love Boston things, so you're gonna love Brady regardless. I mean, he already had a market no matter where. I bring up the 2000 talking about this market, and I've been here 26 years now, and I've lived in Florida for 30, and I'll never forget. I'm a big baseball guy. I mean, I'm a big sports guy in general, but the Rays were really pretty much my passion. And when they made it to the series in 08, I thought that was it. I've been always hearing about the lack of fans showing up. The team came out of nowhere. I really thought that was the year that the bandwagoners were getting, because remember, the World Series games were sold out and the ALCS stuff was sold out against Boston, no less. So, of course, you already had a built-in audience there. But I just figured that would be the time. And then in 09, the numbers just never materialized.
Right.
And then the team had some down years anyway, and it happened even more. So whether or not this is because it's an area where we get a lot of folks from other areas moving in, they might have grown up being a Yankee fan or grown up being a Boston fan or grown up being a Chicago fan, and then they move down here. They don't have the loyalty maybe that they do in other places.
Right.
But I'm with you. I mean, once you're down here and you jump on, stay on, because eventually that team's going to come around again. I mean, in all sports, it's usually the case, and definitely in our sports locally as well.
Well, I got to know this. Speaking of merchandising, where do I get a cool Rule Number 7 hoodie? Is there anywhere we can go get that merchandise?
Let me tell you, it's teespring.com, and you just look up Rule Number 7, and we've got. And the good thing is the proceeds we donate to the Children's Miracle Network. So this isn't gear that this Rule Number 7 thing started years ago, and my wife and our family, we make this stuff ourselves. Now, this logo, we're actually going to update to a new 2021 logo, probably in a week or two. This is the 2020 logo. But yeah, we have wine tumblers, and we have all this stuff. And again, we donate toward either Feeding Tampa Bay or the Children's Miracle Network.
That's awesome.
Teespring, TEESPRING.com. There's everything. I mean, there's shower curtains. I mean, there's everything. Rule Number 7. And you'd be shocked how many people have actually bought it over the last year.
Oh no, I'm all about it. I'm planning on getting one. So I mean, I'll hop online and get it. And I want and what I'll do, everybody, is I'll make sure you guys all get the link for this. I'll make sure at some point here, either on my Facebook, YouTube, the Bucs Report, whatever, we'll make sure we put the link there and a link to the charity that he just talked about, so that we can get some, maybe a little help going that way. Tell everybody one more time, what's Rule Number 7?
Rule Number 7 is don't freak out unless I'm freaking out. We're fine. It's a list of hurricane rules that I developed back in 2012 when Hurricane Isaac was coming this way, and the RNC was here, and everybody was freaking out. And I literally just kind of sat down and jotted down a list of rules to remember of why it's probably going to be okay, and we're probably not. I mean, it's been 100 years since the Bay Area has been hit by a major hurricane directly. 100 years. So it's been a long time. Irma was a miss. Charlie was a miss, at least in terms of a major hurricane. So my last rule was don't freak out unless I'm freaking out. We're fine, and I'm not freaking out. And so far, so good. We've been lucky.
Yeah.
Let's hope it stays
I freaked out a little bit a couple of years ago when I lived there, and all the water left the bay.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with you on that. I was on the air, and I'm getting pictures of, and the storm was nowhere near us
Right.
when it happened. It was still
Right.
way down near Cuba.
Right.
And all of a sudden, people are sending pictures. Hey, the water's out of the bay. I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. And then they're sending pictures. I'm like, oh my God, it really is. And that shows you how big that storm was.
Right.
Nowhere near us. So we always say, 1 year our luck's going to run out, and truth be told, that's probably going to happen. I mean, it's bound to. We're on the Gulf of Mexico. There's hurricanes all around us, but the last major hurricane was October of 1921 to hit the Bay Area. It's literally been 100 years.
Oh, great. Thanks for saying that one.
Yeah, right.
Well, yeah, I'm excited about this, and I mean, we talked about Trask, we talked about that. The only other thing I really want to bring up is Joe Tryon. I mean, I think the guy's going to get. I think he's going to get in the rotation.
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit raw. I think there's development that's needed, but you're picking 32. What do you expect?
Yeah, and maybe down the road he's a replacement for JPP.
Yep.
As he gets older or whatever happens down the road. But you're right, he'll be a rotation guy to start, which is great for them because the expectations are extremely low.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if you look at a lot of draft pick flops over the years, not with the Bucs, but with anybody. And a lot of times I would not be the least bit shocked, especially guys who play in New York for the Jets. The expectations and what people are thinking is going to happen. I mean, that gets into their head.
Can you imagine Zach Wilson right now?
They're done.
The pressure on Zach Wilson right now. Can you? I mean, it's terrifying to think what that kid's about to.
And that's why I bet Sam Darnold turns it around and ends up having a really nice career, whether it's with the Panthers or anybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, the kid was really strong out of USC. And he went into a no-win situation, which is the Jets.
With Adam Gase.
Right?
With Adam, on top of it all, Adam Gase.
I'm with you. Zach Wilson, you wonder, maybe he's that strong of a quarterback that he's going to turn it around, but I have my doubts.
Yeah, well, it's hard. It's just hard. I mean, I remember the last time I remember the Jets being good was way back, like Altoon was there, and those guys were there. So it's been a very, very long time. Been a long time. Well, Dennis, I want to thank you for coming by. I don't like tying you up for a long period of time because I want you to come back. So I very much appreciate you being here, and I'm going to make sure that we get the word out about the Rule Number 7 gear. We're going to get the link out there and a link to the charity. One more time, what is the charity?
It's two charities: Children's Miracle Network, and Feeding Tampa Bay. Okay. I mean, Feeding Tampa Bay did some great work. Well, they've done great work for a long time, but during the pandemic and feeding, I mean, literally there were many people, and that was the thing that I think I remember seeing more than anything is 2/3 of the people who needed food, who were going hungry and went to a food pantry such as Feeding Tampa Bay. That was the first time they'd ever done it in their life, and it was during COVID. It was when people lost their jobs and the economy took such a hit. So it was a really huge addition to our area, and it's a nationwide company, but the Feeding Tampa Bay chapter locally did some great work for the local people. And I remember Tom Brady, one of the very first things that he did when he came into this area, he made a huge donation to Feeding Tampa Bay, just to remind folks that there's a lot of folks out there who are having trouble putting food on the table. So those are the charities. Children's Miracle Network does some great work. The one that I've worked with specifically is in Gainesville at the University of Florida at Shands Hospital for children who have life-changing and life-altering cancer issues, and they do just amazing work for the kids and for the family. So that's what we're trying to help out.
Very awesome, Dennis. I appreciate that. And I saw you the other day on the Over Under with Harry the Greek, and that was a great show. Just listen to you guys talk. I learned a lot. So
yeah, I've spent many a day back in Vegas when I worked at KCBS in Los Angeles. It was many moons ago. It was a $29 flight from Burbank to Vegas, and I was there every single week.
Nice.
And it was that was back when the Stardust was still where the lines were set.
Yep.
Stardust doesn't exist anymore, nor does the Riviera. But that's where the official Sunday night lines first came out on the NFL games at the Stardust, and I learned many a strategy from some experts, and had my share of losers as well, as we all have. But that was a fun time. So anytime I'm on with Harry, we definitely can share some stories, especially
that's awesome.
those are the ones that you always remember most.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, Dennis, thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure. Take care, Rick.
You have a great night.
You too.
All right, love having him on. That's Dennis Phillips from ABC Action News, and I would have kept him on here all night, but I wanted to make sure that I behaved and let the guy sneak out at a reasonable time. Let's bring in right now. I want to bring someone on camera here. Yep, it's you, Andrew Faubert from North Sports Dynasty and live from the cheap seats. And Andrew, I want to thank you, and I want to tell this story real quick, guys. Last night, we had a fun little thing. I was stepping down from live from the cheap seats, which was sort of my first show here on Bucs Report. And it was time because I could not do this show Monday and Friday, Tuesday and Saturday, What's Cooking in the South, and Sunday live from the cheap seats. And I knew that some things needed to change schedule-wise. And the only thing I kept coming down to was I'm not going to be able to do live from the cheap seats. And it was one of those things that at first it really bothered me. And then it struck me one day, what about Andrew? What about Andrew taking over live from the cheap seats? And I felt really good about that. I felt great about it. And I am so happy with the fantastic job you did last night. And one of the things that I said is I kicked back after I was off the show and you took over. I kicked back and I watched. And the one thing I said, talking to the powers that be, the one thing I said while I was watching is, holy cow, man, I will watch this show. It was a good show. Yeah, it was a very good show. So thank you for taking over in the way that you did. You were awesome. I mean, that was fantastic.
Well, first, let me thank you because, I mean, you started the cheap seats. If it wasn't for you and the platform that you started, obviously I wouldn't have a platform on Bucs Report for my own. And It's really it was really a fun concept that I enjoyed.
It's good people.
It's very good people.
Yeah.
And I even said to the fiance, when we go to Tampa, I know you would really like to be close to the game, but I think we're going to have to go to the cheap seats here, my love. She said, yes, I think we're going to have to now.
Yeah. Well, it's a great group of folks. And the funny thing is most of them are not in Tampa. We've got you in Canada. You got Mike DeRoche in Canada. You've got Matt in Oklahoma City. You've got Teresa in Atlanta. You've got Johnny Dean in Pittsburgh. You've got folks all over the place and all of the miscreants all over the place. I mean, it's such a fun crew and people that I care a great deal about. Mm-hmm. And I look forward to them still being around on my Saturday night What's Cooking in the South shows where we'll get into all kinds of trouble.
Per
usual. But so I wanted to talk to you real quick, and then I'll get to Matt Coulson again and Teresa, who are waiting patiently in the lobby. Guys, sorry, I don't like leaving people in the lobby for long, and I've done that a little bit longer than I normally do, and I apologize for that. I will get to you guys. Something I want to talk about here, I want to bring up is Jason Light talked to Tom Brady about drafting a quarterback in advance. He went to Tom Brady before the draft and said, how do you feel about the chance that we may be, we're looking at Kyle Trask. How do you feel about that? And Brady not only gave his blessing, but let the team know, let the franchise know he's there to help him develop. Mm-hmm. Now, part of the reason I'm bringing this up is the contrast that was drawn for us this week with Aaron Rodgers and the way the Green Bay Packers have treated Aaron Rodgers and how Aaron Rodgers attempted to use a little leverage by threatening to not come back, and the Packers responded by, in the first 2 rounds of the draft, not getting him any help. A slap directly in his face. Yep. I don't know what I don't know. Look, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan. I don't think he seems particularly likable. Having said that, I've never met the guy. He may be great. But having said that about Aaron Rodgers, he deserves some respect from that franchise because of what he's brought to that franchise and what he's done. I mean, do you think that's a slap to the face? I mean, he's got to be saying, looking in Tampa, man, they're consulting Brady and you guys are completely ignoring me. I mean,
see, the sad part is we kind of talked about this last night as well. He's in the wrong organization if he wants them to do anything to help him. I mean, the Patriots, my major point was the Patriots knew what they were going to do around Brady without Brady even having to say anything. It's like, you can make your opinions and stuff like that. And there was a lot of talk behind the scenes with Brady and Belichick.
Right.
I read that Dynasty book, and it really gives an insight of just how Tom Brady thought and Belichick thought and how they kind of made that dynasty happen together, whether they liked each other or not. And I think that's really the reason why it worked, is because they deep down maybe didn't necessarily say like each other. They just worked well with each other.
They're both driven toward the same end.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't like each other.
Yeah. And the Patriots built themselves under Belichick, and that's how you have to build a franchise, is under the coach and the owners and the GMs. You can't do it off of players because players come and go. As much as we love the players, we hold them in high regards with the Hall of Fame and the Ring of Honors and those kind of stuff as well. The jerseys and the rafters. I mean, you get the names and the jerseys get retired, but a Belichick's jersey is not going to get retired. That sweater will.
Right. the sleeveless.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sleeveless sweater. By the way, I've got it, Teresa. I just want to say you got it. Miscreants for life. You are correct.
Now,
you are correct.
With regards to that, the Patriots, the Packers, I would even go as far as saying the Vikings now, and a couple of other teams, maybe even Seattle. They just don't make groundbreaking decisions when it's, a player demanding to be told out.
But these are players who are the reason for their success, and they're just ignoring them.
Yeah. Look, they did it to Brett Favre as well in a weird way. When they drafted Aaron Rodgers, it was basically like, listen, we know what the inevitable is. You kind of have that contract with Brett Favre at the time. You have that contract where you make the decisions. We're kind of, handcuffed. At least this time around, they know, okay, we don't have to be handcuffed. We make the decisions here and this, that, and everything else.
Right.
This little situation is a little bit back and forth, only because I'm a major fan of the Pat McAfee show. It's one of my favorites that I do listen to. Aaron Rodgers has been on there. I do look at Aaron Rodgers a little differently. That said, still think he's a little pretentious and a little diva-ish here and there, because he does want to get back to the East Coast, doesn't want to keep playing in the cold weather. I mean, he won't come out and say it, but we all can see it.
The West Coast?
The West Coast, yes.
Okay.
My apologies. And
he seems like he actually seems like the kind of guy who's maybe he remember the kid in school that was very, very smart and was socially a little awkward? Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. Maybe that's what it is with him, is he just doesn't know how to flow and interact. Mm-hmm. I mean,
so me. Believe me, I can adapt well, but certain situations and stuff like that, it's just like, okay, I'm just going to be me and y'all are going to have to deal with it. That's right. It's here. It's how it is. Yeah. And with him, I don't necessarily think the organization has smacked him across the face, because many organizations would never be able to have more than 12 years of sustainability while still having that elite talent there, because you do have to pay quarterbacks, and they already did once.
Right.
They've given him a contract.
Right.
Though it was nice and respectively friendly, and he did that the first time. And maybe that's the reason why it's so bad now, is because he said, I can give you this deal because of what you have done for me before.
Right.
As long as you can give me that money later on in my career, and you guys do what has to be done for the franchise. And I think that somewhere along the way, maybe the hiring of Gutekunst was where it all kind of started to get sour.
Right.
So I think, and my opinion is the Raiders. My phone went off actually before the show and said that there was a little bit of interest between the Rodgers and Raiders there. But my thing is now the Packers.
That's got Gruden all over it.
Oh yeah. I'll get whatever it takes.
Yeah, here's next year's draft. I can see this being the Herschel Walker.
Oh, for sure.
Thing all over again. I can see this happening again.
They literally have like 7 wide receivers too. They'd be like, "What do you want? 3? We can give you 3 or 4."
Who did Dallas traded with Philly? I think for that.
This year's draft, yeah.
No, for Herschel.
Oh, that was Minnesota.
Minnesota. What was this? What was it that Mike Ditka did? Who was the Ricky?
Why can't I think of it either, my friend?
I think he ended up with the Dolphins, wasn't it?
Ricky Williams?
Yeah, I think that's who it was. Was Ricky Williams?
Yeah,
I think that crazy trade happened because of with Ricky Williams. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah,
so, yeah. I get the feeling that now Brady talked about Edelman. Okay, and after we talk about this, I'm going to go because I got a lobby full of
not a problem
of the parrot army ready to go. And I want to bring in the pandemonium.
Of course.
But Brady said, and Brady came out this week and said he said Edelman is just afraid to tell Belichick that he wants to come to Tampa, and he understands that because he's been there. And Edelman sort of fired back, tongue in cheek, Foxborough forever. I'm not going anywhere. Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think, and I saw Bucs fans go nuts about this. See, I knew it. Right?
Yep.
What I find funny about that, I don't think Brady has any intention or thought or anything about Edelman coming to Tampa. I think it's literally just having a little fun with the media.
Mm-hmm. Poke fun at Bill Belichick.
Yeah, poke fun at Belichick. Take a little, get the fans all riled up and stirred up and talking, Brady's got a sense of humor that I never realized, and this seems like it fits his sense of humor. Am I correct about that?
Oh, of course, of course.
All right, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't crazy.
No, Brady is loving it down here, and to say that he was, in cage. Going back again to the book there, when you get deeper into there, you can kind of see once he won that third. And he was going for the 4th championship with them. It really started to kind of turn where it's like, okay, I know that you, Bell, want to do something else. I can go. I can go. I literally can. You just have to be able to pull the trigger. And Bill and the ownership never really could. And Brady, of course, never really truly wanted to leave. It's, of course, when, okay, I'm in my 40s and I probably should go if I want to keep
going. If I'm going to go, it's got to be now, right?
Yeah, and I do think the Patriots kept, did everything in their power, respectively, to keep him in house. But once Brady got a sniff of that Tampa air and was able to go to a high school to throw around with people and stuff, I think he understood exactly where he wanted to be and how long he wanted to play for.
Right. Johnny Dean says one thing on the Rodgers deal is they don't have one person calling the shots. The head coach and GM answer to the head of player personnel in this case.
Yeah.
And okay, so it is sort of the head of player personnel that's making these decisions. And
Mark Murphy, yeah.
Yeah, at some point they need to. I don't know. Their way of handling quarterbacks just doesn't seem like. I mean, when you're blessed to have Aaron Rodgers after Brett Favre, and both of them would say you treated them poorly.
They missed out on an opportunity. Like San Francisco called at the final hour and said, "We will literally give you the 3rd pick and even Garoppolo if you want, and we can make something happen." And they still said no.
Right.
If I was the owners, if I was the GM, whoever makes the decision down there, I would have done it because then you could have flipped that 3rd pick around, even if you did love Jordan Love and Garoppolo for a year. Could have flipped that 3rd pick for a healthy ransom to somebody else who wanted Trey Lance. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, anytime, buddy. Anytime you need me, I'm always here for you, buddy.
You got it. You have a great night.
You as well, buddy. We'll see you soon.
See you later. That's awesome. That is Andrew Faubert live from the cheap seats at North Sports Dynasty. let me bring Teresa in. Teresa has been waiting forever and a day. Teresa, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being patient. I'm so sorry about that. So sorry about that. It's been that kind of night. It's been that kind of night. So after the draft, what are you most excited about?
The fact that we didn't have any glaring need that we had to fill or we're going to die this year. You know?
It's fun to look at this draft and be like, yeah, and also be going, that's exactly what to expect.
Well, Rick,
You know?
I'm in the same boat you are. I've been there since the beginning. So
Yeah.
I've never seen another draft like this.
No, I mean, it was just odd and unmotivating. I mean, after the first 3 or 4 picks, I think after Pitts went to Atlanta, which, by the way, the Bucs are going to have to deal with that for like a decade or two to come. So, buckle up, defense. That guy's the real deal.
Right.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to cover that dude. and I can promise you, we all know how New Orleans and Carolina for years used tight ends to destroy this team. And now we've got a guy who's a genuine potential superstar that we're going to have to deal with. So, yeah, that's absolutely terrifying, I think.
But Atlanta has this uncanny knack of being able to destroy superstars.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't destroy Julio Jones. I mean, he gets hurt now because he's older, but they've had wide receivers that they've done well. They didn't destroy Tony Gonzalez. I mean, there are guys. So I don't know.
They got him so late in his career that he was only here a few years, and then
Tony Gonzalez. He was. Somebody look that up if you could in chat. How long was Tony Gonzalez with Atlanta? Because I don't know either. But my memory is that it was almost like a decade. But I may be I may be completely wrong on that.
Kansas City.
Yeah, I may be completely wrong on that. But that's sort of what I'm. That's what my memory is, but I'm old. So that doesn't mean anything. So yeah, somebody look up please and put it in chat. How long was Tony Gonzalez with the Falcons and the Chiefs? Yeah. Let's get a comparison. But yeah, Teresa, I mean, the jersey sales, you heard about that, and I mean that to me is crazy.
It's crazy.
Do you agree with me that maybe Trask is not what the Bucs need, but the Bucs are exactly what Trask needs to be successful?
Yeah, I would agree with that because he's got time to develop.
Yeah, no pressure.
Learn from professionals, learn from the guys that have been there.
I will tell you, I think it's insane, but I can promise you this, Teresa. I can promise you this. Everybody, mark my words, put this down, mark the tape, whatever you got to do. Mark the tape. I promise you, the first time Brady throws an interception, the first interception, we will see someone post.
We should have kept Jameis.
Bring in Trask.
Oh, yeah. Okay, bring in Trask. But
right.
First, I'm going to say we should have kept Jameis.
Yeah.
And then
we'll get all of that. The FSU fans will be saying we should have kept Jameis, and the Gator fans will be saying we should put in Trask. I promise you that's going to come right away. Okay, thank you, Johnny Dean. Johnny Dean says Tony Gonzalez was with KC for 12 years and Atlanta for 5. So you were correct. You were correct.
Because then he got these lucrative television deals and
he
appeared on NCIS,
Yeah, he had some big years though with Atlanta. They were not. He didn't disappear.
He wasn't, he wasn't old or anything.
No,
but they just they suffer.
Yeah,
I think is what happens.
Yeah, well, everybody in Atlanta suffers. The
Matty Ice
Falcons
every year,
Yeah, yeah. Is Joe Tryon a fit for the future? I mean, he's going to get into the rotation this season. I mean, is that a good pick to learn behind JPP? I mean, all these guys, think of who they have to learn behind.
Got to start looking for JPP replacements. Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah. There were no possible replacements for Suh in this draft.
Oh,
there just weren't. They called it the worst draft for defensive tackles in NFL history.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't going to get the replacement for Suh. I saw somebody complaining about that. Why did we draft a quarterback when we need someone to replace Suh in a year or two? And I'm like, yeah, but there's got to be somebody there. I mean, of course, they didn't suggest who. and that's
Right.
always a
Well, they
problem.
never-
You need to suggest, okay, you think they need to replace him, and I'm fine with that, and I understand your logic. Who? That's
Exactly.
the question. So, yeah.
Exactly. But I had fun watching you on the draft and all everybody, Harry and
Yeah,
Randy.
we had a very good, very exhausting time. I cannot begin to tell you how tired I was. Well, I don't know if you guys realize, but I got back to the hotel after the second night of the draft at around 1 a.m. and I had to leave for the airport at 3 a.m.
Oh Lord.
So by the time I had to unpack all of the equipment and get, with the stuff from the hotel room and all of the equipment and everything repacked so I could fly home. And so I literally didn't sleep. So when I flew back on Saturday, I had zero sleep, and I was tired. I was tired. It was funny, but I had a great time. I listen, I'm going to say it again. These guys are going to keep getting props by me, and they're going to keep getting they're going to keep getting unsolicited endorsements. The Pierogi Grill on Gulf to Bay, guys, it's amazing. The food is amazing. If you want to go there, get in touch with me before you go there, and I'll tell you the things to order. It's the food I grew up on: stuffed cabbage, pierogies, potato dumplings,
Yeah.
kielbasa.
Variant food.
Yeah, Polish food. Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
a
No,
lot of
and it's the
stuff
same.
like-
That's
like
all the
my
same.
grandmother
Yeah.
had, yeah.
Yep. That's all the same region there. And I mean, it will. I love that place. Love that place. Can't even begin to tell you.
Well,
But-
I enjoyed your experience down there. I was with you guys all the way.
Well, it was great, and you've had quite a week, I believe, correct?
I did.
And how are you doing?
I'm good. I haven't quite had. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about, I haven't had it yet.
Oh, that's this week. Okay.
This week, yeah.
Okay.
But,
Just wanted to check on you.
No, my daughter and her friends celebrating Trey's sermon going to the 49ers. I mean, that was fun to watch.
Yeah, that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, they were having a good time. They said nobody deserved it more than him, especially after he fractured his spine his junior year.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's exciting.
Yeah.
There aren't enough good stories and warm stories like that, especially this year. There just weren't. It was a weird draft. So,
It was
but did
pretty-
Joshua? I have to give Joshua Cole Allen, and we've been singing this guy's praises for days, but I've got to do it again. To say what that guy did was amazing and phenomenal, and I don't even have words what he did.
Friday, he was just like boom, 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 boom. There for a while, I thought somebody was texting him every pick from every team.
It pretty much was happening. I mean, he was pulling out, 90 seconds prior to the picks being announced on television. He was telling us who they were, and I mean, it was phenomenal. And I played that video a little earlier. I'll probably play it one more time, of him announcing the Bucs' first pick in front of the pirate ship in Raymond James with the lights going off, flashing red, and with the cannons going off, and you can hear them announce Joe Tryon.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a great moment. I got to tell you, sitting there, and we couldn't hear him at all. So when you hear us reacting and responding, we're like looking. We're reading lips basically and going, "Did he just say Tryon? Did he just say Joe Tryon?" And we're, it was interesting. It was fun.
Well, I liked the second night even better when you and he were
together.
The hosting thing.
Yeah.
He would just do a walk by behind you and say, "It's going to be this guy," and he'd walk on. It was great.
And he was right. I mean, he was a machine. The guy was a machine. Well, I got to get back to Matt. I've been leaving Matt here also.
Yeah,
and Johnny is sitting there. When Johnny gets his camera turned back on, I'll bring him back on, and we'll go from there.
Well,
so
thanks
let me
for having
bring.
me on. We're parrots tonight, so yay, pandemonium.
Yeah, you are awesome, Teresa. Thank you so much, and keep the comments coming in that chat. That helps us a great deal. So thank you so much. And Christopher Cole, I see you there, brother. I see you, David Surlis. Thank you, Teresa.
Bye.
Bye. Awesome. Yeah, I see what's going on there. Christopher Cole. I appreciate it big time. Darden has the skill set of AB. Tyler Johnson has the skill set of Godwin. Now we need a player with the skill set of Evans. Doesn't every team? Good luck with finding someone with the skill set of Evans. So yeah, let me bring back in here. Let me bring Matt Colson back in. Hi, brother. Matt? Matt going once?
There, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm having internet bandwidth drop, so I'm gonna have to call the cable company when I get off of here. But
yeah, yell at them.
Every 2 or 3 minutes it goes into spinning wheels.
Yeah. Hey,
so Tony Gonzalez got drafted in '97 to Kansas City, and he stayed there till 2009.
Okay.
And then he was a Falcon to the end of 13.
For 5 years. Okay.
So,
now I got a question for you. Have you heard much about the Manchester United protests and everything that happened there?
No.
Okay, big protests over in England. The Manchester United fans, they basically stormed the stadium, knocking over police gates. Some injuries. They had to cancel the biggest game of the season. They're protesting the Glazers bringing Manchester United into, and I'm sorry that I don't know exactly what this is, but some sort of like a super league. I don't know what you call it, but
I didn't hear anything you said after they were protesting the Glazers.
Okay, they're Manchester United is going to some super league, some sort of
they're trying to build a superstar league of the top 5 or something like that.
Right. Well, the Glazers are moving Manchester United, and the fans are not happy, and are like the protests are a little bit violent. I mean, it's getting crazy, and the Glazers are very hated over there. I did not realize how hated. I knew they were hated, but I didn't realize it was quite this much.
Wow.
And yeah, I was just wondering if you had seen that and what your thoughts were on it.
Would be akin to taking Jerusalem and just gates and sending them somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean it's gotten out of hand. Yeah, Matt, we are losing you. I'm going to put you back in the lobby for right now. Johnny, are you planning on coming back on? Is your camera around? If so, I will bring you back on. Here we go. Let's add Johnny. Hey, brother.
What's up?
Not a man.
Yeah, Manchester. There's a long history with Manchester United. Just a couple of years ago, Manchester United the Glazers were going to sell that team, and the deal was almost finalized. But the guy they were selling it to was some sheik who got in a bunch of trouble and ended up in prison. So they've still been wondering basically what to do with that team, because it's for soccer attendance to fall off, that's a big deal.
Yeah,
and their attendance had fallen off over there,
really?
It's a mess there.
Well, there's that super league that they're talking about forming. I don't know about that.
Stupid.
By the way, did you hear?
I thought maybe soccer could get away with it, but people were trying to talk about that for football, American football. And I'm like, no,
it's bizarre to me. It's bizarre to me that you play between leagues, like a team will play in one league and then go play, in a different league or what. It's funny. It'd be like basically the NFL playing some Canadian football. I mean, it's just
and this thing where they do when the lower team gets booted out and goes to a smaller league, like a farm league and stuff. Here, go learn how to play again.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, did you hear about Chris Sims saying that he gives Kyle Trask his blessing to use his number?
No, and I don't think Chris Sims has the right to earn a nut chance for that, man.
That's exactly where I was going with that. I don't understand. I mean, I think Trask should have said, you know what? If you're giving me your blessing to use that number, maybe I should give you a blessing to use my spleen.
Right.
I mean, right. Holy cow, man. I mean, who does Chris Sims think he is in Buccaneer lore? I mean, that's a Gerald McCoy kind of move, isn't it?
Look at his father. He thinks he is his father, man. He's nowhere near. And Phil Sims is just an arrogant. Oh,
yeah.
It's hard to listen to Phil Sims talk, man.
Yeah. Jason Light he's very, very excited about this draft. He says that the Bucs added both size and speed, and special teams should improve and everything. What are your general? Give me your.
Well, I love the draft. I felt the same way. Outside the offensive lineman, who's going to be rotation, and oh man, just
Darden.
No. The Tryon. Thank you. Those guys are going to be in rotation, and they're going to be learning behind the JPP and
right.
The guy that's playing on the offensive line. He can play. He's versatile. He can play. He has played each position, and he's played it well. So,
right.
So he'll be in rotation, and he'll be picking up pointers from the guys that are there already.
Right.
So that's not a bad spot for either one of those two.
Right.
The other kid, the one that you just Darden.
Right, Darden.
He'll be competing with TJ Logan for that.
I am
spot.
Fascinated by that guy. I don't know that he's going to be great. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm fascinated by him. He's somebody I'm intrigued by, and really, I want to see how this kid does, because you get the feeling that this guy's either not going to develop or he's going to be something really special. Like they got to steal. It's one or the other. They seem to really like this guy.
I kind of feel like most of these guys they picked up were steals. Actually, I don't see any of them not making the roster on the special teams.
Okay.
Because our special teams were weak. We had a weak spot on this team. It was special teams.
Right.
And Britt is going to be a good gunner on the special teams, I believe.
Right.
He's got that style and ability.
Yep.
I think everybody's going to make special teams except for the kicker they brought in, undrafted kicker, and he is basically there as a body to help
you
shine.
think that until you hear his stats.
Well, you got to have every year they have a kicker out there. Every single year they have an undrafted kicker out there to help on.
No, I understand that, but sometimes those guys make the team. I mean, if he's out kicking. If he's out kicking Suckup,
takes a big fall off, then he's not going to be on the team. Dude.
Well, there's a money consideration. So if they're
also
close,
roster position consideration, they're not going to use a roster spot for that.
Well, no, I'm saying if they're close is in camp, as far as if this kid comes in and is a good kicker, and they can save that much money.
If they get rid of Suckup, can you imagine what the fans will do?
I can imagine what Ray Kennedy will do.
The fans have all been starving for a guy that they could just walk away and expect the kick to go through.
Right.
It's been a long time, man. It's been a long dry spell for that.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, there's you're trying to re-sign everybody. You're trying to get all that done, and it's tough. I mean, that's a very, very tough thing to do.
The coaching staff is only looking at one thing, and that's making the team better. So he has to beat out Suckup to stay on the team.
Right.
And they just signed Suckup, so that's a done deal.
Well, it's a done deal until they cut him. I mean, if they cut him, it's a whole different animal, and that's the only thing. When I say
if they cut him, then that kid is a better kicker than Suckup.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And if you look at his statistics, he made 8 out of 10 from like 57 yards or more, or something like that. He made a ton, but he was weaker closer, and that's exactly what the knock was on Suckup.
No, that was the guy before Suckup.
Or the guy before Suckup. That's right.
And they got rid of him and got Suckup.
Right. So I'm not saying this guy's going to make the team, and I'm just saying, I'm knowing that Suckup has a pretty large contract for a kicker. And knowing that you can get this guy for quite a bit less, and you're trying to find salary cap space, I don't think anybody's safe, man. I don't think anybody is safe.
Well, I don't see any threats in this draft. Anybody starting positions?
No. Now listen. Let me say this. No, unless again we're talking kicker, where that's the only one that I see.
Being threatened, honestly, I don't.
I know the feeling. I understand the feeling, and it's terrifying to think of not having Suckup because we could count on him, and that's awesome. And
his overall standings in the NFL is you're going to have to come out and be a top 5 kicker to beat Suckup out.
I understand. I'll just say I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Grant Stewart, by the way, Mr. Irrelevant.
There's your story. You were talking earlier about there wasn't all that many stories, but Stewart's got a great story, man.
Tell me about it.
His mother's a drug addict, as we all got to see in his interview.
I didn't get to see this.
You didn't see it? She was hovering over him like it was her moment instead of his and stuff.
No.
Oh, my God, it was horrible. Even people in the chat were saying, hey, man, hey, lady, get away. Let your son have his moment.
That poor guy.
You know? He basically raised his siblings and stuff.
Wow.
He's very humble, man. He's very humble.
I'm gonna have to look for that. I'm gonna have to look for that. Now you got to really root for this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's what they were saying in the chat. I don't even know this kid. Now I got to root for him. Right?
Yeah, I know.
He does. He's got a great story.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out and watch that video. And now I'm gonna care about that guy. Thanks.
You're welcome.
The guy who's least likely to make the team. Thanks. Now I care. But
actually, he's got a good shot on special teams too, man. He's
well, usually not all of your players make the team. Last year was a weird year. Usually not all your draftees make the team, and if they all do this year,
they may just keep Minter as Levante's backup and not have to use him no more in special teams.
Right.
And I can see a lot of improvement on special teams with this draft class, the lower half of the draft class, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
these are kids that could be competing somewhere else for a roster spot, you know, and they're here fighting for a spot on the special teams now, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess. I mean, I hear that. I hear you. What do you think about the jersey sales, the info on jersey sales? I mean, I don't think that it's a shock that the Bucs.
It really doesn't.
But 1,200%, that shocks me. The largest increase in the history of the NFL. Let that everybody wrap your mind around the fact that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, if you've been here at all for any number of years at all, I'm going to say this and listen clear. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the team that sells the most merchandise.
Why does that shock you, though? I mean,
because it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they never sell the most merchandise.
We got Tom Brady. That's increasing your jersey sales by a ton. And we got to spotlight our players, which had to increase jersey sales.
No, I get all of that. I understand why it happened. I'm not shocked with the reasoning. I'm not shocked with that. I'm shocked because I'm used to being a Bucs fan where you never see Buccaneer merchandise anywhere. Shoot, man, I live in Charlotte.
They don't allow any other merchandise here, so.
Well, I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, and today in the store that I work in, somebody came in wearing a Bucs cap. And you know, I mean, it's I'm sorry that I'm not shocked that it happened because they won, and you've got to figure that, but it's
the percentage.
It's still shocking to see and to know and understand they're top in the league over over New England. They're top in the league over Dallas, over Pittsburgh, over these teams that, you know, constantly sell tons of jerseys. The Buccaneers, Tampa, is number one in merchandising. That's insane. Now, it makes complete sense given they changed jerseys and then they brought in Brady and they brought in Gronk and they won the Super Bowl. And I mean, I get it. I understand the reasoning, but it's still one of those things that for me is hard to sort of wrap my mind around. Holy cow, man. More merchandise than anybody.
Did you see Tom Brady at the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah.
That's what shocked me. To see him looking like Cam Newton almost.
Oh, I don't know. He's worn some pretty weird outfits, and you know Giselle is behind that. You know Giselle's behind that. But,
right.
But I mean, that's the thing you do at the Kentucky Derby.
Yeah, I know. I've been to a few of them.
Yeah, you wear, you know, funny stuff, and he went there knowing it was going to be a story and it was going to be funny. And I mean, yeah,
exactly. I mean, I love that picture, man.
Yeah, he dressed like I don't know,
picture.
almost Mr. Peanut or the Monopoly guy. I'm not sure which one. He was somewhere in there, but I mean, the guy on the Pringles bag.
He looked like a Bond villain, man, getting ready to destroy the world, dude.
Yeah.
With the glasses and stuff, that was awesome.
Yeah, the whole thing was funny. So, yeah, but I mean, good for him. Good for him. And this is the thing, is he's having fun. And you heard about what he said about Edelman, saying Edelman is just afraid to tell Belichick that he wants to come to Tampa.
Yeah, I saw that.
I know, and
That's hilarious.
A lot of well, see, you get that, and I get it, and we all laugh about it. But there are a lot of Bucs fans who desperately want Edelman to come to Tampa.
Why? Edelman is so broken down,
because they were Patriots fans. Let's be honest, okay?
Right.
Because they were Patriots fans, and it's somebody you got warm and fuzzies about. You want him to come here. You want him to have, you want to have a good time. You want to do that. That makes sense. That's how that works.
I don't think Edelman could earn a roster spot here right now, actually.
Yeah, how is he going to earn a roster spot? Explain to me how that could possibly. I mean, Julian Edelman coming to Tampa. What? Okay, so who you cutting? Somebody tell me, who are you cutting?
Nobody.
Right. I mean, you know what, Johnny? I want to try to bring this into chat here. I want everybody in the chat room. You tell me, if Julian Edelman comes here, who do you cut? I want to wait and I want to read your answers here. I want to read your answers. It's your turn, guys. Come on. It is your turn. All right. I want to see it in chat, everybody. Start telling me if the Buccaneers were to bring Julian Edelman in. We're waiting for your comments, guys. If the Bucs were to bring Julian Edelman, who is it that they're going to have to cut? All right, that's what I want to know. So I'm waiting for your answers. If Julian Edelman came here, I would cut the water boy and give the job to him. That's Johnny. That's probably the best comment. You're probably correct. Christopher Cole says, I've got a meme to show you, Rick, about the picture of Brady. Email it to Christopher. Hit me up on Facebook, brother. I want to see that. Maybe Saturday night, it'll make the meme grinder on What's Cooking in the South. And guys, let me talk about that real quick. This Saturday and every Saturday at 9 o'clock, we have a great show called What's Cooking in the South. It's at 8:30 p.m. on Saturday nights. It's a whole lot of fun. Things get it's very different than this show. Things get a little out of hand, and it goes off the rails, and you never know what's about to happen. It's the intersection of food and football, and I love both of those things, and we get to talk about both. You've heard me talking about Pierogi Grill enough tonight. So, yeah, everybody in chat is saying nobody. Yeah, that's because we have the educated fans here. The educated fans are here. And they're all going, yeah, nobody. You can't. You cannot bring in. You just can't do it. No.
You guys were talking about Kyle Trask earlier.
Yeah.
Can I say something about that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I have noticed a lot of that. I haven't been online a lot the last few days, but I have noticed that there's a lot of Kyle Trask hatred. What are you guys thinking? I just want to know, what are you guys thinking? You think Kyle Trask is coming here to take Brady's job? He's not. If you think Kyle Trask is going to be a bust, he's not, because there's no expectations for Kyle Trask.
Well,
Kyle Trask is in the perfect situation, and the Bucs are in the perfect situation with Kyle Trask right now. If something happened to Brady, they've got a guy behind there developing. Give him a couple of games. I'm sure this defense and offensive line can help Kyle Trask out. He don't have to win games. All he has to do is manage the games. He's not like was with the Gators with no defense and two people to throw the ball to. All right?
Right.
It's fine. He's all right. Calm down, people. It's not the apocalypse.
Well, no, but let me ask you this. How long is it? I said first interception. You'll see Gator fans saying Trask should be starting.
No. Well, you might, but no.
You realize when they won the Super Bowl.
Gator fans are more sensible than that.
You realize when they won the Super Bowl, Fans
If
were
Andrew's
saying
still around, ask Andrew how he's a Gator fan. Ask him what he thinks.
I'm a Gator fan. Okay, but when the Bucs won the Super Bowl, Winston fans were saying we would have won by more if we had Winston. I've got the post saved. I mean,
I try to pretend those people don't exist, man.
yeah, but it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, man. The very first interception, somebody's gonna be saying that.
Well, Brady threw an interception and nobody was calling for Blaine Gabbert, so.
Well, it's Blaine Gabbert. He's not from Florida.
I think people right now have more faith in Blaine Gabbert than they do Kyle Trask at the moment.
No, Johnny. No. Gator fans, are you kidding me? No, you're thinking logically. Stop that. I mean, there's a group of fans out there who, they're Gator fans and they also follow the Bucs, but they're primarily Gator fans, and he did some great things.
Seminole fans that followed the Bucs and they're primarily Seminole fans. Yeah, right. I got it.
Yeah, and so their loyalty and their ability to see things really clearly maybe is a little skewed. And listen, all of us are like that towards our favorite team. I mean, especially those of us hanging out here, you're probably like that quite a bit towards the Bucs. I mean,
absolutely.
I don't consider myself to be a fair judge.
Blind myself.
What's that?
I don't blind myself to what the Bucs are. I've caught in a lot of hell from people around because I don't just blindly have a bias for the Bucs. I look at the teams and I see what's working on around them, like the Saints. Everybody thinks the Saints are going to be a pushover. They're not going to be a pushover. I'm sorry. They got a team built that is not dependent on the quarterback position.
Right.
They've proved that time after time with Teddy Bridgewater and Taysom Hill. They've proved it. They can play and win games without a quarterback that's a superstar. They don't need Drew Brees. They can play.
Right.
And I think that's what the kind of team we're building right now is. It's going to be a quarterback-proof team to bring in a younger quarterback after Brady. They don't want to be caught unhinged when Brady goes out and then they have nobody there. They're going to make sure that this team can carry somebody.
Well, but I'm not. This is like what I said earlier. I don't know I don't know that Kyle Trask is perfect for this team, but I believe that this team is perfect for Kyle Trask.
I think they're a perfect fit together, actually.
Yeah,
I like Kyle Trask's abilities, and people didn't watch the Alabama game, and if they did, they only saw him lose a game with two. He has two weapons, and he has no defense, and the offensive line was iffy. Okay, it wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It was iffy, and he has that mobility in the pocket, much like. It's not Brady-esque. I'm not going to say that word. Much like Brady does. And he can move the ball downfield. Look at how much he put up in the air in that Alabama game. Look at the points they put up.
Right.
Against
By the way,
Alabama. That's Alabama.
I just got information. Mike DeRoche is trying to he's been posting. I cannot see his comments. I don't know if you guys can.
I haven't seen a comment from him.
I haven't seen him all night either. So, yeah, I have no idea what's going on. I don't know why, maybe it's something going on with StreamYard. But, yeah, I'm not getting your posts, Mike. I don't know why. I'm not sure what's happening. So, sorry about that, brother. No, I'm not ignoring you. I thought you were ignoring me. So, yeah, got no clue at all.
One more thing. For everybody who's wanting Kellen Mond, he's another gunslinger. Are you sure you want another gunslinger in this team?
Yeah, I don't. I don't. I don't.
Me either.
Most definitely, I do not.
I like the guy who sits back in the pocket, reads the defenses.
Well, that's
makes the smart pass.
And I think
that's what I want.
Yeah, I think the thing that's so interesting is seeing what when Arians was talking about Trask, he said the fact that he's a big, strong pocket presence kind of quarterback and this is what they think about him. Okay, he processes information extremely well. That he's extremely accurate, and in every situation, and he's talking about basically going back to high school or whatever, college. He's always had people have had low expectations of him, and he has always blossomed.
Exactly.
And that to me, that's interesting. That's interesting. Now it's one thing to succeed in college. It's another thing to succeed in the pros. We've seen a whole lot of it. But I did say this early in the draft before the Buccaneers drafted him. The first night of the draft, Ray and I were talking, and I said at that point, not knowing where Trask was going to go, I said, I honestly believe that Kyle Trask has a better chance of succeeding in the NFL than Trevor Lawrence.
I agree 100% with that.
And, he looked at me like I was crazy. He looked at me like, what are you kidding me? That's one of the weirdest things that you have said. And I said, well, not when you think about the fact that the quarterbacks drafted early in this draft are going to bad teams, other than San Francisco. But the quarterbacks are going to bad teams. So you've got Kyle Trask. Let me ask you this. Who's got a better chance of having a ring at the end of this year? Kyle Trask or Trevor Lawrence?
It ain't Trevor Lawrence, that's for sure.
Right. Who's got a better chance? What? Let me ask, out of all the rookie quarterbacks this year, who's got the best chance of having a ring at the end of this year?
Trask, 100%.
Trask. So,
I'll even put that in order, man. Trask has the best chance. Trey Lance may have a chance.
That's exactly right.
And
then there's no other rookie quarterback that really has.
Zach Wilson will probably. All right, here's a question for the group: who has a ring first, Zach Wilson or Trevor Lance?
Trevor Lawrence.
Lawrence, yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, man. The Jets always Jets. Okay, they always manage to Jets.
I don't buy into that crap, man. I've watched teams up. I've watched dynasties rise. I've watched them fall. I've seen it all. So I don't buy into that crap. The Jets have a solid foundation right now. They got good management.
I understand
that building.
Cincinnati multiple times has had a solid foundation, and they've not been able to finish it because, and the point is, the organization itself.
That's what I'm saying. That organization has changed around with the Jets. They have become a real organization now.
I think you have a good head coach there.
They're backing their coaches up. They're backing their GMs up.
Well, we'll see. I hope you're right for Jacob Charnow's sake, but
this ain't for Jacob's sake. This is something I've been seeing come working up, man.
No, I hope you're right for his sake.
I'm on the fence about that. I love to see Jacob cry, but I love to see some videos of him joyfully screaming and yelling too.
That's funny.
Either way it goes, it's going to be good entertainment.
Yeah, I'm bummed that I've not been able to hear what Mike DeRoche. He says he's got some stuff he wants to talk about and that he's been contributing, and I'm not seeing it. I don't even know where he's.
You want to try to get him on? Has he got the link?
Yeah, Mike, if you have the link, go up in the Miscreant chat, and the link is in there, and you can come on. Hey, Mike, there you are. There you are. Where have you been, Mike? Mike DeRoche just made his first comment. Where have you been, brother? Where have you been making comments? He's probably doing it in the chat. I mean, rather than in our Miscreant message group.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Johnny saying the Jets really means.
I think they mean it just as much as the Jaguars do.
Here's the only thing different I say with the Jaguars. The Jaguars had a ton of picks. Urban Meyer, and let me be clear. Remember, I said I'm a Gator fan. I can't stand Urban Meyer. Okay.
I don't know the Gator fans that do the way he left y'all.
But I hate saying it, but the guy can coach.
There's no doubt about it.
Let's just see whether he can do it in the NFL. He just seems like the exception to the rule.
It's the staying power with him, man. I don't doubt his coaching ability, even in the NFL level.
Right.
I do doubt his sticking ability. I don't think he sticks.
I agree. I understand that. I can understand that. I think he could do really well, bring the team to a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl or two, and then he's gone. And he's got 5 years, 6 years with the team, and that's about it.
I agree with that.
Yeah, that's a mat. But you know what? When it comes to the Buccaneers, that's a long-term coach right there. So 5 or 6 years, man. If we could keep Arians for 5 or 6, that would be amazing.
Something, man. We get our coach, and he's a short-termer.
Yeah, and because he's old. You finally get the guy, and he's too old. So, well, they've already had him for 2 years now, right?
Right. You got 3 years to go.
Yeah, but the fact that they've already had him for 2 years, and remember, everybody said Arians is only coming for 2 years. I don't see him getting ready to go at any moment.
No.
I don't see him being done after this year. If they win another Super Bowl, dude, he's not retiring.
I agree with Tim Witherspoon. Schiano was a good coach in college. He could have been a good coordinator here. They used Schiano as the cut guy. He's the guy that came in to clean the house with all the miscreants that were in that locker room. See, look,
not miscreants in a good way. Not miscreants in a good way. But Tim, my thoughts are Greg Schiano was a good coach in college. A good coach.
He was a great defensive coordinator.
Right. He was not a great coach in college. Okay. Yes, maybe a great defensive coordinator, but the point of the matter is he did not. It was way mature. It's like dating the girl before you really get to know her and you make that commitment. You ever say have you ever accidentally thrown the L word out there? Have you ever accidentally told a girl you love her and then you're like, crap, that came out before I didn't really mean that. That came out and now you're stuck.
I've done the opposite.
That's what I feel like what happened with Greg Schiano. I feel like the Bucs said, yeah, we love you, we want you. And it was probably like, then they probably looked at each other and went, what are we doing? I mean, and now you've got Greg Schiano.
I've done the opposite. I think it would have been better to do that because when you do the opposite of that, when they say that they love you and you come up with, I like you too. That's not if you say I love you out there at first without thinking, you could cover that up. I mean, it might be endearing to them and stuff. Nothing about I like you if after they've said I love you is going to endearing.
Yeah, I don't know about covering that up. I think if you drop that word out prematurely and they're not ready for it, yeah, good luck.
Oh yeah, they can walk away, but it's still endearing. He told me he loved me. Oh, I wish somebody told me. You you cannot make it look good if you say I like you too.
Right. If you say I love you, oh, that's nice. There's nothing. There's no way. Yeah.
Or pull the Star Wars thing and say, yeah, I know.
Yeah. I love you. Yeah, I know. Anyway, that's pretty funny.
Premature boing.
Yeah, well, because I
wrong
said
show, Mike.
You say it prematurely. Yeah, wrong show, Mike. Yeah, Mike's over here saying he's on fire with his comments, but no one can see them.
Bring the fire, Mike.
What a deal! What a deal, Johnny. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down for the night. I want to say thank you for being on here, brother. Great as always, adding to the show. Thank you.
Later, bud.
Have a great night. All right, guys. I want to talk about one more thing before we get going here. I just want to go over. I want to go over a couple of thoughts. I want to go over my thoughts on the things that we've discussed today. I told you what I thought about the jersey sales, but Jason Light talking to Brady about drafting a quarterback in advance, to me, tells you that Tom Brady is as much a part of this organization as anybody on the coaching staff. Tom Brady they have accepted him as the champion that he is. They've decided they're going to give him the respect, latitude, and power and authority that he has earned and deserves. And it's nice to see that happen because you don't see Arians with ego. And this is I think a very key point, guys, is you don't see Bruce Arians carrying ego into this and getting in an ego battle, and a battle of of ego with Tom Brady or with anybody else. You don't see infighting among the coaches. You don't see Todd Bowles crying about not getting hired when he should have. You're not hearing the jealousy and the issues and the problems. And it's amazing to me that you're not hearing any of that from this team. That to me is the most encouraging sign of everything. It's not that you're hearing some of it and there are problems. It's not that you're having to accept it or deal with it as a Bucs fan and say, well, we're going to like this guy anyway. We're going to root for this guy even though he is saying this and this and this and this. Guys, you've got a team that is all working together. They all seem to like each other. The coaching staff, they're all working together, no ego. They're working with the players, communicating with the players. Everybody's working. I've never seen a Buccaneers team work this perfectly and beautifully. I've never seen a football team work like this. I'm sure that there have been others, but I've not seen them. So what we are watching here, guys, is special. What we are watching is the making of, at the least, maybe, way too premature to say that it's definitely this, but maybe it's a little bit of a mini dynasty. Maybe you've got a little bit of a run here for the Buccaneers. That's going to be something special. And maybe this draft helped look towards keeping that going after the old guys start to move on. That is a very cool thing to know that the future is poking its head out right now. It's not just right now. We all keep hearing win now, win now, win now, win now. But on top of that, what you're seeing is a team that's taking a good look at what are we going to do in the future. And you saw a little bit of it in the draft, and that was fun. That was a lot of fun. All right, so Brady is fired up about Jalen Darden, so I'm certainly intrigued. Brady really likes Jalen Darden. Brady thinks he can do a lot of things with Jalen Darden. If Brady feels that way, I'm all about it. What, am I going to question him? So that's an exciting pick, guys. Keep your eyes on Jalen Darden. I think that may be a bit of an unexpected bright spot who sees a little more field time than we might be thinking. I do think the writing's on the wall. I think Justin Watson has played his last game as a Buccaneer. So that is what I think. My ultimate thought is that I don't know if Trask is perfect for the Bucs, but the Bucs are perfect for Trask. So let's see what happens, because this is the most perfect opportunity for Trask to succeed in the long run. Manchester United protests. How does that affect the Bucs? I don't know. I don't know if it does or doesn't. I don't know if there's financial hit that the Glazers are taking and if that's going to have an effect on the Bucs. I don't know what to think. I'm not sure how that plays itself out. It's a weird thing to wonder that. Here everything is going so well for the Glazers on the NFL side of things, and they are such a disaster on the Manchester United side of things. I don't know how those two interact with your owners. I don't know how your ownership has to deal with both. Their pocketbook is affected by both. So how that plays itself out, I guess it remains to be seen, but I think it's very, very important that we do find that out. And here's hoping that the Glazers can weather this storm and be just fine. Joe Tryon is a fit for the future for this team. He's going to get in the rotation. He's going to get to play. And I think he's somebody who can have a little bit of an impact now. But the bottom line is this: he's a fit for the future for this team. He's a nice piece for the future for this team. And we get to see over the next year or two, we get to see what he's got. We get to see what he's all about. So Welcome to Tampa, Joe Tryon. I'm glad that you are here. This is going to be good. Chris Sims. What the heck are you thinking? Giving Trask your blessing for him to use your number. Chris, you know what? When you were on the team, you did some nice things. You're a good guy. You were a good guy. But come on, man. Giving him I hope you were joking by giving your blessing, because wow. You really are an afterthought when it comes to this franchise. You don't need your blessing. Jason Light, he's excited about the draft, says the Bucs added size and speed, and special teams should improve. And special teams is what the Bucs needed more than anything. The Bucs needed to improve on special teams, and I think they did that. So this has been a very fun night, guys. I want to thank you guys for being here. I wanted to thank you for once again bringing it. Pandemonium in the chat room. Thank you, guys. It's good to be a Bucs fan these days, isn't it? There's so much to be excited about. We will be back Friday. By the way, Wednesday night on the over-under. Listen to this, guys. Wednesday night on the over-under, they're going to have the schedule reveal. So you want to make sure you are a part of that. All right? So thank you, guys, for being a part of the Bucs Report Show. I appreciate you guys being here. It has been a great night yet again. Have a great night. Love you guys. Go Bucs.